Hey guys, welcome back to the Sunday stream. Today is January the 31st, 2021. Today I'm going to be looking at SPX, some key areas where I see it going next week to the upside and to the downside. I'll also be taking a look at our watch list names such as Apple, NVDA, Tesla, Facebook, PTON, which has earnings, along with NEO, AMD, and BABA, which also has earnings, and a few other names such as Snap, which is highlighted in our low cap watch list, along with Pinterest, which also has earnings as well. With that being said, we're going to head over to the SPX chart. But before that, guys, make sure you head over to thewealthymentor.net if you do want to join our Discord group. We offer a great service where we have options trading callouts each morning. We also have market analysis each morning. We update our watch lists. We have a various watch lists as well with high cap names and low cap names, along with airline stocks and MJ names. It's a great group to join. And if you're interested in learning and also developing your skills and also understanding what it takes for day-to-day preparation, if you're trading in the markets, it's a great opportunity. Okay. With that being said, I am going to head over to the SPX chart, which is the S&P 500. And as you guys can see, this is the 5-minute chart. We did have a rough week. We did have a bunch of names reporting earnings, such as Apple and Tesla. Facebook also reported. And as you guys know, sometimes when, let's just take Tesla, for example. They had some great numbers. However, they did not meet Wall Street's expectations, and the stock dropped. There's a lot of anticipation with that, along with Apple had great earnings. The stock didn't pop. Again, it dropped. So it's kind of a lottery pick approach if you are playing earnings. So, we had a lot of volatility last week, and I expect the same thing this week. So with the SPX chart, as you guys can see here, we did hit a high of 38.30 and dropped down, basically down to 3,700 on close. Some areas that I'm looking at heading into next week. My first confirmation would be that 3750 mark. I would like to see us get over that 3750 mark. My second confirmation would be the 3760 for a potential top at 3780. If you do see us going above 3780, I would call that a healthy market. However, to the downside, I am looking at that 3700 mark to hold. If it doesn't, we do have support at 3686, 3680, 3663, and 3650 to 55. That is if we see continued weakness. Earnings don't pop up well. Big names are reporting, Amazon and Google. If those guys tank on earnings, definitely look to see the stock market drop to those levels. This is the 5-minute chart, so I am going to show you a 4-hour chart here to give you a broader outlook. As you guys can see here, we do have some price action at that 36.63 mark here, back on the December the 31st, 2020. We also wicked down here and got bought back up on December the 21st. We did have some price action here from 36.30 down to 36.35, and that was in also December the 11th. So if we do see a sell-off, much like we did last week, expect areas such as 36.60 to 36.30 to be hit. I expect a bounce around those levels. If we do not get a bounce around those levels, it could get quite ugly, most likely down to 3,600. Okay, so that is to the downside. And obviously we have all-time highs at 38.70. But like I said, I do like to see us get over that 37.50 mark for the first confirmation, along with 37.60 for the second, for potential take profit area at 37.80. Above 37.80, I would say we are in an uptrend still. However, we need to stay above that. Okay, so that is SPX, my outlook for heading into Monday through Friday of next week. Okay, I'm going to head over to our watch list, and the first name I'm going to be looking at is Apple, ticker AAPL. Here is Apple on the 4-hour time frame. As I mentioned earlier, we did have Apple earnings last week. They did really well in terms of sales. However, the stock just didn't pop. We do have all-time highs here at 145. We did sell off along with the market. You know, Apple tends to run with SPX. So obviously, if the market's selling off, Apple has a huge chunk of S&P 500 index. So we did see weakness, and we did hold that 130 level, which is great support here. We had it here last week. We've also had it here on the 14th of January, also here, which was resistance back on the 5th of January. So I am looking at that 130 mark to hold. If we do not hold that 130 mark, I do see us dropping down to the 127.50 area, which we had support here again on the 19th of January, 12th of January, and over here stemming from the beginning of January, from the 4th onwards to the 6th. So that 127 level is an area where we could drop down to. Beneath that, I could see us going down to the 124, down to 120 area, which is also support. To the upside, I would like to see us get over that 135 mark to neglect this downtrend. The first step would be to get over that 135. Above that, I am looking at take profit areas of 138 to 140. And we do have all-time highs, like I said, at 145. Okay, so that is Apple on the 4-hour time frame. Still looking good. However, this week is really important, and a push above 135 is key for us. Okay, that is Apple on the 4-hour time frame. Next name, NVDA, NVIDIA. NVIDIA here, still stuck in that range that I talked about earlier. You know, I mentioned this in the previous market videos that we do have that 560 area, which needs to be broken to confirm the break of this channel that we've been in for quite a while. We did have a bit of a sell-off here where we did hit that 510 mark once on the 28th, right? January, again on the 15th of January, once more on the 6th, right here on the 28th of December last year, and on the 10th of December. So that 510 area is an area of support that I'm looking at heading into next week. Beneath that, I am looking at the 500 mark, potentially 495 if we do see a sell-off. To the upside, I am looking at the 530 mark for positions of entry. I would say my first confirmation would be that 530 mark. Above 535, I could see a push for a take profit area of 545 to 547. However, the bigger hurdle is that 560 mark. So if you are a conservative trader and you don't want to get up chopped into this little area, I would look at that 560 mark to break. Other than that, just stay out until we do see a break of that channel. Okay, so that is NVDA on the 4-hour chart. Next name I'm going to be looking at, which did have earnings last week, was Tesla. TSLA is the ticker name. Tesla, we had all-time highs at 900. Like I mentioned on previous streams, that 860 mark was an area where we needed to break, and we did break that. As you can see here last week, we did shoot up to that $900 mark, consolidated beneath 890. We did tank on earnings, as you can see here, at that 880 mark, pushing as low as 800 before getting bought back up here with a nice long wick. Buyers stepped in. However, as you can see here, the sell pressure is quite strong, right? We did try to go back up at 850 after hours, got pushed right back down to the $800 mark, where again, buyers stepped in and tried to go touch that 850 mark, and again, got rejected. So that tells me that 850 is a strong level of resistance. So that is a level that I'm going to be looking at heading into next week. We tried to hit it once after hours, 2 times during market hours, 3 times, and finally got pushed back down and held 815 support. Again, the bounces got weaker. As you can see here, we didn't even make it to 850, 840 and got pushed back down. As you can see, the market, we did sell off down to 3,700. So Tesla being part of the S&P 500 holds about a 5% weight of that, accelerating the loss down to 780. Heading into next week, I am looking at 800 as the first major hurdle. The second one is 815 and a potential take profits at 830 and 840. 850 is the big number for me. I would say if you are a conservative trader, look for that 850 mark to break to confirm the uptrend. If we do not bounce up that high, I definitely see us heading lower down to the 770, 765 mark, potentially all the way to 750, where we do have support. So that is Tesla on the 4-hour time frame to the downside, right? 750 to the upside, over 800, 850 major hurdle. Okay, so that is Tesla on the 4-hour time frame. The next name I'm going to be looking at, that's part of our watch list, is Netflix. Netflix did have earnings a few weeks ago, but ever since then we have been sliding down on Netflix. As you can see here, we were at 500 on the earnings call. We did hit a high of 593, which was all-time highs. However, ever since then, we have been trending lower. We did hold that 510 to 515 area, pushing as high as 552 before getting rejected and following the market trend, which was to the downside. Okay, we do have support at that 522, 530 mark. Below that, I am looking at support at 510 to 512. As you can see here, it was resistance back on the 7th of January, resistance again on the 14th, and obviously we've had resistance back in December the 1st, right? And it's support now if we were to drop at that area. So that 512 to 508 is an important area for me. If we do break that, I definitely could see us heading back down to the 488 mark. To the upside, I would like to see us get over to the 552, 556 hurdle. That would be my first confirmation. My second confirmation and an entry would be over the 565 mark for potential take profits at 576, 582, and 586. And keep in mind, guys, all-time highs is not very far from those numbers. So heading into next week, I would definitely like to see us over those areas of 552 to 556 for a clear picture towards the upside. Okay, so that is Netflix on the 4-hour time frame. Another name that reported earnings last week was Facebook. Again, Facebook, a lot of anticipation of it moving higher. As you can see here on the 4-hour time frame, we did move higher from the 15th of January in anticipation of those earnings, as high as that we did push down to the 240 mark, right? And pushed as high as 285 in anticipation of those earnings. Earnings came in, as you can see here, a huge long wick right here, pushing as low as 253. A lot of volatility here, guys. So if you are playing options on those earnings, you guys get killed to the upside and to the downside. As you can see here, big long wick rejected and a big long wick here, which got bought back up. So, options with volatility, especially on earnings and market makers, definitely kill your premium. So, bears got slaughtered here, right? And the bulls got slaughtered here. So I definitely would stay out of earnings if you are one of those guys that definitely likes to, I would say, gamble. It's just not worth it. So with that being said, I do have Facebook over that 260 mark heading into next week. If we do push above that 260 mark, I am looking at 265 to 270 of areas of take profit. However, if you are a more conservative trader, just like the names I've mentioned below before this, such as Tesla and Apple, look over those areas where we dropped down from, which was the 270 area. This over here would confirm to me that, hey, we are moving up and we are confirming the uptrend instead of, a continuation pattern down. So that 270 mark would be my area for a safer trader. 274, 275 would be an area of take profit. If you are an options trader and you enter at 270, I would definitely look to increase my position to 2 contracts or whatever you're comfortable with over the 275 mark for potential take profits at the 280, 282 area. To the downside, if we do not hold 255, 256 area, which as you can see here, did hold here, big time buying here, come back to push the stock up. So that 255 area is key for me. We hit it once on the 27th of January and on the 29th. If we do not hold that mark again, I do see us dropping down to the 248, 244 area, which has held for support here on the 14th of January. So that is plays to the downside and to the upside on Facebook on the 4-hour time frame. Moving along. But before I get into the next game, guys, again, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, comment to see if you want certain names reviewed for next week. I'll take all that into consideration, but please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and also head over to the website. The link is in the bio if you do want to join our trading group. Okay. Next name I'm going to be looking at that has earnings next week. Peloton, PTON is the ticker name. So Peloton is one of those stay-at-home stocks that has done really well ever since the epidemic and has been stuck into this channel of 167 down to the 140 mark. As you can see here, we did hold that 140 to 142 back on the 6th of January. Once more here on the 28th of January. So heading into next week and into earnings, I am looking at that 150 mark. Above that would be a nice entry for potential take profits at 154, 158, and 160. To the downside, I am looking at those marks to hold that 142 to 140 area, as I mentioned, for support. If we do not hold that area of support, I do see us going down back to the 138 to 128 area if we do not, please people on earnings. So 150, 154 to 160 are certain take profit areas, right? Below 140, I'm definitely looking at 128 to be hit for support if we do bomb on earnings. Again, this is a 4-hour chart on Peloton. So as you can see here, that 140 mark is definitely key. So earnings could definitely push us below. And where do I see us going down to? We definitely could be pushing down to the 128 area if we do not do well on earnings. This channel has to break no matter what, from 142 to 170, and earnings is a perfect catalyst to do that, to the upside or to the downside. Okay, we also have strong resistance here at the 168 level. Right here, got pushed back down. Right here, we have some consolidation, price action, and once more here on the 22nd of December. So that 170 area is definitely a key area for me if we were to beat earnings. So above that, we could definitely run. Okay, so that is Peloton on the 4-hour time frame. Another name reporting earnings next week is BABA, and I believe they're reporting before the bell. So BABA here on the 4-hour time frame. This stock is kind of tough to gauge here to understand, but we did have all-time highs at the 320 mark. We have been trending down ever since here. Right here, 154. Tried to make a move back to the 280. Sorry, 254. We did try to make a move to that 280 area. Again, got pushed right back down. And again, we tried to make a move up to the 268. And I could see us in a similar trend where we went down here, we went down here, we went up here, we went up here, then we went down. So if we were to play on history, we could definitely see us going back down to the 225, 212 area if we do bomb on earnings. To the upside, I am looking at that 280 mark to break. That to me would change things around and allow me to believe that we are in for a trend change and definitely a push to the upside. So 280 would be an area if we beat earnings. 250, 225 would be an area if we do miss on earnings, potentially even lower to 211. If you are a day trader, options trader, I'm definitely looking at that 258 mark to break for potential push to 268. However, there's a lot of chop action here, so it's not the most clearest trade, I would say. So definitely look for those areas of 272 to 278, 280 area to break for a safer entry. Okay, so that is BABA on the 4-hour time frame. Another name that had earnings last week that didn't really do much was Boeing, BA. I'm going to quickly look over the chart for Boeing here. As you guys can see here, guys, we did hit a high of 244 during the pandemic level, and we did hit it once more here, 240 on June the 8th, and on December the 4th. So, I mean, this looks like a double top to me. And it seems that we are going to be pushing down lower towards that area. We do have price action, which is the 190 to 155 area. And judging by how the pattern is looking right now, it's only a matter of time before we hit 190, get back down into this little area right here where we push down to 175. So heading into next week, here are my areas that I'm going to be looking at. To the downside, if we do not hold that 190 mark, definitely look down to the 185 and 180 area, even 173 for support. To the upside, I would definitely like to see us above the 216 area for a better entry, for a safer entry, I should say. Above 200, I'm going to be looking at scalps to 206 and 210. And like I said, 216 above that, if we can break above that, I'm looking at that 220, 222, 226 area. Okay, so that is BA on the 4-hour time frame, and we are in a downtrend, so keep that in mind. Okay, so that is the names I'm going to be looking at on our daily watch list. We do have on the group, the Wealthy Mentor group on Discord, we do have our secondary names, and they are our low cap names. So 2 names that strike me that do have earnings going into next week. One, Pinterest, and the ticker name for that is PINS. So Pinterest is reporting, and as you guys can see, Pinterest is doing pretty well ever since this epidemic, hitting highs at 76, 77 area. We are still in an uptrend. So, you know, if we do really well on earnings, I do see us breaking all-time highs. So my first level here, as you guys can see, is that $68 to $70 mark. This is one of our swing trading names, so our targets are a little wider as opposed to our day trading. So I am looking at that $68 to $70 mark to break for a push up to 73 and all-time highs at 76. Above 76, and if we do impress on earnings, I am looking at the $80 mark. If $80 breaks, I am looking at 84 as my next area of take profit. To the downside, you know, we are currently at 68, just below the resistance point here. If we do crash on earnings, a break of 64 would be my first confirmation. My second confirmation would be the 68 and 52 area, which were areas of support here. Switching over to the daily, right? As you can see here, 64 is an area where we do have support. Wick down here, got back up right here. One more wick here, one more wick here on the 5th. Sorry, here is the 4th and the 5th of December, of January, I should say. And we did have support here again on the 24th of November. So that $64 area is key for me. If that is broken, I am looking at 58 and 52 on earnings. Okay. Another name that is reporting earnings is Snap, SNAP. Snap, very similar chart to Pinterest. We do have, we are in an uptrend, and all-time highs aren't too far up at 57. We did close on Friday at 53. So going into next week, I am looking at that $54 mark to break. And the next area for me is that $57 area, which is all-time highs. $60 is a take profit zone for me and my group members. Above 60, if we do impress on earnings, I am looking at that $65, $70 area for overhead targets. To the downside, I am looking at 47 to hold. If we do bomb on earnings, I definitely see us breaking 47, where we could land. 43 and 38 are strong areas of support. As you can see here, a lot of price action back on October, and also over here back on November. So those are areas where we could drop to if we do not impress on earnings. All right, guys, that's all the names that I want to discuss. Keep in mind, Amazon, Google, big names reporting next week. Expect a lot of volatility. I would say be careful with your positions. Scale in slowly if you are trading options, and be aware that options heading into earnings tend to really burn your premium to the upside and to the downside, especially if you're holding through them. My take is that you should always take profits along the way and then stay out of earnings and then reassess your position post earnings. Okay. So that is it for today's stream. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe. We post these videos every single week. And if you do want to join our group, head over to thewealthymentor.net and get started. All right, guys, thank you so much. Good luck. See you next week.